August 21st. We were getting ready to go out on our evening patrol, and we were in a OP that we had established in a village out in Iraq, close to our base. And um, our the powers that be thought it would be a great idea for soldiers to actually live in villages with the people to win hearts and minds and all that. So we took over these two houses that we eventually turned into our OP out there, our forward observing post or whatever you want to call it. And I remember, it was the sun was getting ready to set, and we were getting ready to head out on our Bradley for our routine for that evening. And I remember sitting on the back of the ramp, and I hear the Iraqi army tank start up. They had one of those old school Soviet T whatevers, that we gave them. And I remember hearing it start up, and it moved, and then I remember hearing a loud boom. And I don't really remember much after that. I remember coming to, and somehow I went from the back of the Bradley to the front of the Bradley. I couldn't see anything. My vision was gone, completely gone. And I just remember touching and feeling the front of the Bradley, and I was like, how the hell did I get here, And so I'm using my hands to try to guide me back to the rear of the Bradley where my gear is, because I'm just out here, and I didn't even have my ACU top on. I was just in my t-shirt, and my boots were untied, and nothing. And I remember getting to the back, and I remember the Bradley commander, he grabbed me, and I started freaking out. He's like, "No, it's me. It's Sergeant Fields. I was like, "Sergeant, like, what just happened?" He's like, "I don't know, but we got to get out of here." And I remember our Bradley driver coming out of the dust, and he had blood coming out of his ears and his nose, and just his face was just covered in blood. And my sergeant was like, we got to get him back to the aid station. So, I threw an arm over my shoulder. Sergeant Fields threw an arm over his, and we started walking back. And I remember walking where the wreckage was of the VBIED that hit, and I just remember this is what hell looks like. Just all that was left of this big dump truck was an axle and a tire, and it was in this huge black crater. And I remember just flames everywhere and dust floating everywhere, because the Iraqi dirt, the sand there is just so fine, and it just floats in the air and like powder. And I remember just haze and smoke and fire. And I remember carrying him back to the aid station. That's when the second VBIED went off, and this time there was no cover between ourselves and the VBIED. And I remember the same thing happened again. Eyes gone, hearing gone, just that loud buzzing noise that you hear when you're next to an explosion. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, man, this is gonna turn out to be a really day. And vision comes back, dust settles a little bit, and I remember looking down on my arm, and it was just pouring bright red blood out of my arm. I mean, I've never saw blood that red, that steady of a stream just pouring out of somebody. And I saw it, I freaked out. That's when I felt the pain. And I remember just pushing the guys away from me, and just taking off running as fast as I could to the aid station, back to our compound. And just, walls were toppled over, doors were blown off, our antennas were falling over, MREs and water and everything just thrown everywhere. And I immediately thought that everybody was dead. I ran in the back to where our racks were, and I bumped into my first platoon sergeant, and he's just this big guy, big definition of a Joe. You know, he had the Hitler stash and bald head and tall and muscular and very intimidating dude, you know. And I run into his arms just crying, just, you know, help me, please, you know, don't let me die. And I remember he's like, you know, it's calm down, calm down. And he started screaming for the medics, and the medics were in the back room, and he took me back over there. And I remember, you know, the medics working on me and ramping my arm up and doing their stuff. And I just remember crying to them, screaming, you know, please, please don't let me die, please don't let me die. And, you know, medics just, you know, we're not gonna let that happen. And, you know, slowly all these other Iraqi army guys come in, you know, just way worse than me. And I remember, you know, they called in the medevac, and it took about 21 minutes for the Blackhawks to get there. And they wouldn't land because we were in the middle of engaging the enemy. So they refused to land. So, you know, it took some pretty heavy-duty ordinances for the gun battle to stop, and they landed and loaded us up in there. And I just remember flying to Baghdad ER, and, you know, I got off the helicopter, and again, I just took off running, and I ran into the doors of the hospital, and I remember just grabbing this poor, I think she was like a PFC, you know, this poor girl that worked in there, and I don't know what, she a medic, I guess, you know, but she was working in the hospital, and I just grabbed her and just pinned her against the wall, and I was like, please, please help me, you know, I'm dying here, you know, I'm bleeding out, you know. And it worried me because, you know, we just lost a guy in our platoon. He, you know, because he bled out and he didn't get help in time, so that was in my mind. And I remember she just kind of pointed in the direction for me to go, and I got, you know, to a bed, and they worked on me and rushed me to surgery that night. And I remember, you know, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning in Iraq, and talked to the doctor, and they let me use a cell phone, and I called my mom, and I let her know what happened. And, you know, she's the last person that I wanted to talk to about that, you know, but I knew I had to. Couldn't lie to my mom. So I, you know, told her, like, don't freak out, you know, but I'm okay, and this is an accident, but I'm fine, and I'm coming home, and, you know, hopefully I'll see you soon. And she, you know, acted like a mom, freaked out and cried and was panicking, and I think she didn't get any sleep that night because she was calling all the family and trying to figure out what to do and everything, and that's what happened that day.